Hi friends. This is, as Michelle Wong would say, quick and dirty first impressions of the Byredo Prismic palette. I have not reviewed, first impressed, tried Byredo on my channel until today, so I wanted to present a quick background on Byredo just so we can have a little bit of some context. Nerdy Alicia, take it away. Now, although I knew Byredo was a fragrance company, I decided to look further into the actual brand as I didn't know, like I said, much about it. It was founded in 2006 by Ben Gorham. His mother is Indian, and on his travels there, he was very much inspired by the aromas of the spices and the incense, and of course that trip served as one of his many inspirations for his perfumes and candles. But how did he get into perfume in the first place? Well, interestingly enough, Ben has a degree in fine arts, but met with a perfumer of the name of Pierre Wolf. And on this meeting, Pierre somehow convinced Ben to create fragrance rather than paint. With that said, he didn't have any formal training, not coming from the perfume world, not having, as they would say, a nose. And because of that, it says here that he is considered an outsider in the beauty industry simply because his background isn't in perfume. So look where we are. Byredo is a very popular luxury perfume and candle brand. Now fast forward to October of 2020 last year, the makeup line was dropped and Ben decided to work with innovative makeup artist Isamaya Ffrench. And much like what I think inspired his fragrances and his candles, Ben wanted the makeup to be represented in a similar fashion, no boundaries, and anything and any product that the user encounters, it will invoke creativity and feel boundless in its use. And that's exactly why Ben decided to seek out Isamaya. So the line dropped with 16 multi-use color sticks, which I am wanting to get now, 15 lipsticks, 1 lip balm, 1 mascara, 1 black liquid liner, and 3 eyeshadow palettes. And now we have an 18-pan eyeshadow palette by the name of Prismic. Let's see how these shadows work. Back to you, Alicia. I don't know if I mentioned this in my nerdy section because I'm pre-recording this, but Isamaya Ffrench is the global beauty director for Burberry Beauty. I think this was a collaboration with Byredo in that they were developing the palette with the brand, and the actual palette artwork, this is like a mirrored chromed background, and the artist who illustrated the palette lid is Jon Emmony, and I apologize if I am pronouncing that wrong. I try to find a video where someone would say their name and I'm like, I hope it's Emmony, okay? Jon, I believe, is from what I've seen and what I interpret, a digital surrealist artist. I mean, I feel like the type of work that would inspire Pat McGrath in it being really just futuristic in nature, but digital in terms of the medium. And this is Jon's illustration, which is absolutely beautiful. I don't even want to touch this palette because the fingerprints are just going to get all over it. Now, what prompted me to get this, besides it just being an eyeshadow palette, and I'm obsessed with that type of a beauty product, I'm always intrigued with a big eyeshadow palette from a luxury brand. Not new to the market per se, as we know Natasha Denona had her 28-pan palettes. Pat McGrath has the 10 shadow palettes. I wouldn't say 10 is an exorbitant amount of shadow, but for luxe, a lot. And of course you had the YSL palette that looked like a clutch. I didn't get that one because from reviews that I've seen, it wasn't like show-stoppingly good in terms of the quality. But this, hello there, this got me intrigued. I mean, the palette itself is like art, and judging from Byredo's release with the lipsticks, I have 2 of them, the packaging is very much about sculpture. It's so architectural in approach and feel. And of course, when I saw Katie Jane Hughes demo it, I was like, yeah. So this is a palette which, my goodness me, Isamaya wanted to create a true artist palette where any of these textures can be used on eyes, face, and lips. And upon first glance, you might think these are all shimmers, but you have mattes in here. Since this is a very abbreviated first impressions and I have to teach like in half an hour and I want to catch the light, I wanted to swatch some, but let's get into the details first. This is exclusively available on Selfridges. I renewed my annual subscription for delivery. Did you? All right, this retails for $91. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's Byredo. You're getting 18 shadows. It's a total weight of 30 grams. Suggested shelf life of 12 months. It's made in Italy. I think it'll probably be better if I head over to the actual Byredo site. Maybe we could get a little more perspective on what these textures are. I also bought one of their mini eyeshadow palettes to compare. I don't think I'll have time to review those in the same video. USD $96 on the Byredo site, $91 on Selfridges, but the 5-pan palette is $70. You're getting 5 shadows. In the big palette, you're getting 18. So the Prismic palette is not a bad deal, actually. Are they as good as the shadows in the 5-pan palettes? Well, that will have to wait for another day. We got long-lasting, easy to blend, lightweight texture, intense. 18 shades, 3 different finishes. We're looking at matte, metallic, and glittery, spanning a rainbow of shades from grunge to glamour. Each color is seen through distinctly different perspectives: a sparkling copper red, an ethereal shimmering lilac, a soft matte navy. Rather than being neatly arranged in a formulaic gradient, the set is presented as a disrupted series designed to provoke experimentation. How thoughtful. In a lightweight and long-lasting texture, the highly buildable shades are designed to inspire instinctive rather than perspective application. I don't know much about Isamaya, but just judging from her most recent demo using the Prismic palette and her work in general, I get why she did this. I think this is a sticker to take off, but you have a big mirror here. This is exceptionally constructed, and you have grooves here on the edge of the palette, but it is magnetic. Okay, judging from the textures, let me be careful here. If I drop this, I'm gonna die. I believe the mattes can be identified with, of course, looking like just a matte fabric, and the glittery ones, you can see that some pans have more shimmer than others. And on the Byredo website, they don't distinguish which ones are matte or not, but again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like we're looking at 6 mattes, 4 metallics, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 glittery shades. I gotta see the yellow. Ooh, that's pretty smooth. I think the pink bled into the yellow a little bit. That does feel like a matte, more of a traditional powdery matte, not in the same way as I assumed when I mentioned Charlotte's The Icon. This is the pink. That's pretty nice. It's funny, when you swirl the finger around the pan, it does kind of take on a little bit of like that creamy look to it. Let's do this blue. These are very, very smooth. And, you know, blue's hard to formulate, not like the most type of a swatch, but they feel good. Let's go in with one of these. I think this might be a glittery shade, because you could detect there's some shine there. Here we go. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. Very smooth. The glitter particles are strewn across the formula, but it doesn't feel chunky and heavy. I want to go into this olive. This, I believe, is the more metallic. Oh, that's nice. Dare I say, just judging from that texture, one that you can successfully blend into your crease. You don't have to exclusively apply it on the lid. So I do think this a true artist palette in that it encourages you to apply these shades anywhere on your face, for that matter. Not just the eyes, as I mentioned before, but face and lips. And also you can apply this wet, and when I saw Isamaya apply these wet as a wing liner, the color looked absolutely gorgeous. So you know what, hold on, let me bring you in a little closer. That's enough. I will lower this down a little bit. All products that I have on my face will be listed down below. Let me apply some primer. And I should apply some brows too, but you know what? I'm gonna leave those alone for until the end. My apologies, fam, that I'm not able to do like 4 looks in one video and I got some of the shadow on my lid. It's fine. I'm like so excited right now. Taking my Bristles Beauty EO1. Let's try this purple matte. There is some kickback, but it's not as aggressive as like some indie brand mattes that I have tried. Well, okay, we are in it already. Now, clearly you see I picked up a lot and there is a lot here on the lid. I want to take the yellow and fluff it in and around the front of my brow. Like I'm going Isamaya style right now. And I'm sure you could also apply the yellow on a more intense primer, like on a white base or even like a true yellow base and get more out of it. This, I think, is just from me not applying my primer correctly. And actually, I think Katie Jane Hughes suggesting that you apply primer way out past your lash line in case you spread the shadow beyond that point. Let's take this pink. I think this might be one of the glittery shades. Yes, for sure. And you can detect those sparkles. But what I want to do is take this lilac shade, spray it, which I haven't done. I haven't sprayed shadow in ages, and apply that on the inner part of the eye. That's pretty. Very lightweight in texture, and definitely spraying the glittery shades is going to bring out more of that dazzle sparkle from the formula. Taking more of the pink that I applied on the center and just bringing that more forward. And let's go in with this copper on the outer part of the lower lash line. That's pretty. This is, I believe, a truer metallic formula. Very smooth, but it has really nice shine. And why not? Let's go in with one of these. You know what? Let's go in with the fun gold shade as our inner lower lash line moment. But you know what? I'm going to use my pencil brush to pick up a little more. Just from using this first impressions, definitely I think you will get a better result wetting the more glittery shades, because if you don't, they serve, I think, more as like a topper moment. These trucks are driving me crazy. And if you wanted more shine, I would wet those shades instead. And you could probably actually wet the mattes as well if you wanted to do it like a nice wing moment look. Taking more of this purple matte so I could rectify my terrible priming application. I want to test one of these metallics as like a crease moment. That's very smooth, and this color is pretty. It's not a sky blue, it's like a cooler light blue, but it has a nice shine to it. It's very pastel without being like super washed out. And actually, let's see how this looks wet. I'm taking the same fluffy brush, which I shouldn't do. I'm being lazy right now. I don't want to switch my brush. I would go with a shader brush. But you see how that bumped up the shine and reflectivity? Dare I say, it looks a little duochrome. This mint shade, which I think is also a metallic. This is what Katie Jane used in her video, I believe, on Instagram. That's pretty. Man, that's pretty. I'm just carving the edge of that light blue shade. I don't know if these have names. Oh, they do. Slow Gin. And now I just applied chlorine. And this is Bruise. So appropriately named. And the yellow is Lager. And why not? Let's go in with this navy on the outer part of that metallic blue, so we can add a little more depth. But that brought out like that blue, but it doesn't look muddy. It just intensified the blue feel of that first shade. And now I want to do this matte here. It's called Medusa. Same Isam W23 brush, but now under the lash line. And let's do this gold metallic, or rather, I think this is one of the the glittery shiny shades. Yep, for sure. See how that one, that first gold one we applied is more burnt gold, and this is a truer yellow gold. I still can't let this eye go. I totally screwed it up. You know what I should do? I should take some of the pink and whisk it on the edge of the purple. Maybe that will just help conceal that spot. Now, as far as blush, definitely this pink shade or even this shade here is really bright, but I just want to see the Wayne Goss Artist brush in medium with this matte, but ooh, that's a pretty color, especially if you're a deeper skin tone. Like, it's gonna look fiery, iry. And I'm taking it around my temple as well. That's not bad. Now let's do the pink on this side. The pink is really pretty. Blending it a little bit more here because I think probably caught on to my Auric. I love what's happening. How about, just for kicks, one of these glittery shades here? I believe this one is As Part of Me. I'm going to just not talk anymore. On this side, more on the actual cheek. You do detect some of the glitter sparkles there, but it does give the cheeks a really nice glow. I love. And then of course, this shade here next to the pink on like the more red side on the cheeks. That definitely brings some glow forward. And it looks smooth on the skin. So you do see a little bit of the glitter. I don't really mind because, you know, I like the Dior palettes, the ones that came out last year that have a little glitter to them, and I enjoy that from time to time. But if you don't, then I just wouldn't put these on your face. And I actually want to see how this one looks. The gold as like a highlight. Not too bad. You could probably wet this too so that the sparkly arclies can melt a little better into the skin, but I think the overall effect though is quite nice. But I still want to do one of the liners. Which one should I do? Okay, I want to do something on this eye. Ooh, maybe I could do the olive color. This is my Isamaya V09. Let's spritz that and see how that goes. Oh, you can see it. Okay, hold on. Let's do the matte mint. Medusa. See how that does over the blue. Well, over the olive is like a nice combination. We could try wetting lager. This like marigold yellow over the purple. Yellows are so hard. So let me take the one that I applied here on the inner part of this eye, wetting it again, and then use that. There we go. To apply on the lash line. That you can see much better. And remember, whenever you're wetting shadows, you want to wet the brush with the product already on there. You don't want to wet the pan. Well, that's what I've been told and encouraged to do anyway, so I'm just passing along the message. Taking the lilac shade, and I'm just, at this point, let me see here. I got like 10 minutes left. I'm just tracing along the top of, what was this color called? I don't know if I'm doing anything crazy, but I'm just, you know, painting. Don't mind me. I feel like I gotta put on some brows because the brows are drowning a little bit with all this beautiful watercolor. And why not? Let's take Byredo's China Plum, which was, I saw this on Kelsey's video, and then of course Vicky J was like, yeah, you gotta get it. I'm like, okay, fine. And this is the lipstick component, which again, just so surrealist in my eyes and very heavy on the architecture. Like, they put great thought in their makeup components. And this is a matte finish. It had a lot of pigment. And just for fun, let's pick one of these pink shadows and just lightly dust it over the lip so we could get a little more of like a pink highlight from that. Ooh, we could even do maybe the lilac. Oh, that's pretty. It's like, now I made it like ultraviolet. And here's a finished look from our quick and dirty first impressiones. I like to get a lot more thorough, and it's kind of killing me that I can't do more looks or present more information on this palette. But again, voiceover Alicia will fill us in if she needs to. My initial thoughts on this palette is that this is like a watercolor palette. It's for someone who likes to experiment with their makeup. They're not afraid to apply colors in a haphazard way like I did. They're willing to take risks, and at the same time, there's a softness about it that if you're not too sure about the impact in terms of the colors that are presented here, they could be really nice washes of colors that I think can be approachable and can be wearable. Now, the whole concept surrounding the palette design, again, it's just what draws me in. I love products that are just so heavily conceptualized, from the formula to how the pans are organized to how the palette design is. That's what really gets me excited about this in particular. For some, maybe that doesn't mean anything and they rather just create their own palette with eyeshadow singles or just buy from another brand that's not as expensive and can still offer a very similar experience. But when a luxe brand comes out with an artist palette, I always like to join the party. I want to see what it's about, what they have to offer, maybe their textures that I haven't used before. The mattes, I have to say, they're different from mattes that I have used. They're not as heavy duty as, let's say, Pat McGrath mattes, but these shades in a matte formula don't exist in the Pat McGrath family. They might exist again in her metallic or VR family or what have you. A lot of these glittery shades are on the drier side, I think, because they have the glitter particles in here, which is why I would recommend that you wet those shades. But even so, from this quick demo, I rather enjoyed using this palette, seeing the different ways I can combine the shades, and there's no neutrals in here. The only neutrals I would, maybe consider a neutral will be like the gold and the coppers. You can't hide in this palette. You can't hide behind a lot of these shades. The one you pick, you need to commit to and go forward with it. And I think that's what makes it so fun for me, and that I cannot rely on a matte to hide behind or to blend out with. If you want to pick the red, you got to blend it out either with a yellow or a pink or a green, or combine it in whatever way you want, and it'll be super impactful, because once you layer those shades together, the end look is like, whoa. I would love to use this palette again. If you want an answer from me now, I would wait. I don't think it's something to rush and get. If you are a fan of Byredo, if you are a fan of Isamaya Ffrench's work and you want to see what Isamaya has to offer in this palette, then go for it. I think the more important question to ask is if you will use all of these shades, not only on eyes, but on face and in lips. If you're not, then skip it, fam. If you know you're gonna go to the palettes that you love and this is something that's just gonna sit in your drawer because it's pretty, and I get it, some of us collect makeup, maybe you want this for collecting reasons, but I would pass if you usually don't do looks like this. Even just for fun. If you know you don't align with this type of approach to makeup, and that's fine, there's no rules. But if you love color and you want to experience the Byredo brand and you have the finances for it, then I think it'll be worth the try. If you have Natasha's 28 pan palette, those have a lot of neutrals in it, which again, you could fall upon, but this is no mercy here. Isamaya, no mercy. And in terms of the name Prismic, I think the palette aligns very much with that name. When I think Prismic, different multi-dimensional color, shine, I mean, this is hitting you from all angles. Let me know what you think down below, if you're going to skip it, if you're going to buy it, you're still thinking about it, what have you. And until then, fam, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you in here again with another review, tutorial, eyeshadow palette, quick impressions, monthly favorites, or nightly life chit chat. Take care, and I will see you again soon.